Hi, welcome to another episode of the Naina Redu Experience. I have been missing for a while. I was traveling, then I fell ill for a bit, and honestly, I didn't really have the energy or the inclination to talk about anything. I have just come back home from an interview that I did for some fashion students and design and creative art students. And one of the questions that the interviewer asked me is something that I thought I would talk about as this podcast episode. And the question was, as a photographer, do you need to have an education in photography, formal training in photography to become a professional photographer? Now, the answer is no. You don't need it, um, but you need practice. How you get that practice is up to you. When I started photography professionally, the first shoot I did was for a client who knew nothing about me. I did not have a portfolio. They paid me very little, but I did end up producing a large image bank. But it was shot on a film camera, and I don't have any professional photography training. Whatever I have learned from the internet, where other photographers have been kind enough to share their expertise, their experiences, whether it is technical knowledge on how to actually create a photograph, what kind of lenses produce what kind of images, what kind of cameras produce what kind of images, what kind of assignments require different kinds of skill sets. For example, if you want to become a beauty photographer, you also need to understand how retouching works. You should know how to do retouching. Yes, there are professional retouchers who can do the job, and the photographer doesn't need to know it. But if you don't even understand it, then you will not know how to photograph the subject, how to light the subject, and things like that. For example, architecture photography requires a different kind of skill set. How much time do you want to spend in post production, in Photoshop? For someone like me, I don't really like spending too much time in Photoshop. I like images as they are. To some people, some of my images might look too cluttered, they might look too busy, but that is one way of describing an image, and I prefer images in their natural state as much as possible. I do enjoy editing, of course. I like post production. I do high contrast, high saturation images usually. uh, the Photoshop that I will probably do is when I have to do, skin retouching, if I've got acne or my subject has got acne and they're not comfortable with putting that online or publishing that image as is. Things like that I change, but I don't like changing body proportions. I don't like changing the shape of, eyes, lips, nose, things like that. So that kind of editing I don't really prefer. But what I'm trying to say is that every type of photography requires a slightly different kind of skill set. I think as a photographer, you should be able to shoot any kind of subject for a client. You should also understand as a photographer that if you're thinking of becoming a professional photographer, for example, you need to understand that you aren't just someone who is photographing something. You are providing value to a client where you are making it easier for the client to sell their product or service. You are making the clients or product or service look so good that they are able to sell more of it. That is kind of the value that you are providing to your client. It is not necessarily limited only to your skill as a photographer. Not everything needs to be an art print. I'll give you an example. I was in Binsar recently, and I was trying to photograph some of the rooms with the help of Karan and Siddharth, who are he's the president and the vice president of operations. And they were trying to, do up this place, and I wanted to experiment with some room photographs. And as a client, they're used to a certain kind of photography of their rooms. They need the room to look a certain way. Whether it also depends on where those images will be used. Will they be used in print and magazines? Will they be used for advertising on travel portals? And they also need a combination of images that make the place look lived in, that it's a place that feels cozy. And there's a certain way of photography I fall in the latter thing. I would not produce highly produced images of architecture, for example, unless the building looks like, looks a certain way. I'm not going to edit it too much. I don't like replacing too much. For example, if the view from the window is not green, I would ideally not like to put green there. If the view from the window is very cluttered, I would like to clear out that clutter physically as much as possible. Maybe drop a curtain over the window. But I don't want someone who goes to the room in real life to look at a photo and say that, hey, the photograph lies. I mean, there's a fine line there. This is commercial photography, advertising photography, and you are selling dreams and aspirations and all. I get all that, but so, as a photographer, these are some of the things that you need to understand, and you will understand these things as you shoot more and more and more practice that you get. I would not have been here where I am. I think I'm fairly successful in terms of being content with the kind of work that I do and the kind of clients that I've worked with and the kind of projects that I've had the privilege of working on. I would not be here without clients who took a chance on me when I had no portfolio, and they still said, fine, we'll work with her because we like what we see in her personal portfolio. So you need to have a personal portfolio. There is something to be said for formal training as a photographer, because a senior photographer might be able to give you a crash course within 3 hours, and you might immediately start understanding how your camera actually works. There is something to be said for that. If you can find someone who does that on a personal level for you, I would recommend that instead of going to photography school per se. See, photography, especially going forward, a lot of it is going to be shot by artificial intelligence. There's going to be a lot of not just the actual photography where you have machines or robots, for example. We have drones right now that are doing photography where a human being can't. Sure, we still control the drones, etc., but you know what I mean. It's moving in that direction. But not just those decisions of what to shoot, but also the decisions of which photograph works. Like even on our phones these days, we have, we'll take a burst of photos and the phone tells us which selfie is the best because our eyes are open, our smile is the best according to some algorithm, etc. So going forward, these decisions, the technical aspects of, the skill, for example, might be with the machine. So you have to understand what is your role going to be from now onwards. It can't just be someone who shows up, takes pictures and leaves and, charges 25,000 for the day and, you're done with it. You will be very quickly replaced by machines. But if you have something unique that you bring to the table, for example, what do I think I bring to the table? Obviously the kind of images that I shoot are very, they're like Karan said, and Karan said that your images are more like art. And initially I thought that was, for some reason I didn't take it as a compliment. I was like, no, but I want to shoot those images that you want, clear, architecture, rooms, highly produced, Photoshop. And then I was like, no, that is too clinical for me. I like the, not the dirt, but I like the skewed and the, imperfect and what a place actually looks like. I like that. Those are the kind of images I produce, and those are the kind of things that my eyes see. So what I bring to the table is that I am able to capture the essence of a space, for example. I am able to capture the soul of a space, and then I am able to put a set of images together to create a story about a space or a place or an event or a person, for example. And I am then able to also provide a platform to tell that story. And that platform being my blog, where I can actually do the whole story and I can write 2,000 words about it and I can tell my audience about this particular client, product, service, etc. And of course, then there are other ancillary platforms like Instagram and Twitter and, where you have to be online these days. What I also bring to the table is, like I said, why am I able to capture the essence of a space or a place? It's because I understand what a brand is. And, marketing is not brand building. What you want to project is not the brand. It is what your customer seeing. Whatever your customer sees, that is your brand. So if your customer sees that this is an expensive product, this is handcrafted, it looks expensive, then your brand is that. You can't project and force someone to say, oh, by the way, I spent 18 hours, for example, creating this brooch, and it is a work of art, and that is why it costs so much money. And someone might look at it and be like, no, but this is like a badge or a pin, and I get these for like $200 in some market, and why do I need to spend, I don't know, 6, 7, 8,000 bucks on something like this? So that is obviously that's not your audience that you're selling to then. So there are all these other things that I also bring to the table, which I don't think that you can put all this together in an algorithm. Not right now anyway. So I will not be replaced anytime soon by AI or by robots. The function of photography as a technical skill could be, and I think it is going to happen. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But there are some skills we bring to the table as human beings. So I don't think you should be looking at it as, do I need an education to be a professional photographer? What you need to be providing in terms of value to a client is not just button click and that's it. What more value are you providing to the to the client, and what are the things that you can then learn so that then you assist yourself and you have these ancillary values that you're providing to the client along with the photography? I think this is a very important way for young people these days especially to think of. And honestly, I'm not 20 anymore, so the way I think is kind of set in certain ways. I am still very open to learning, and I try to learn about new things daily, and there are new technologies coming out and all, but there is a physical function of your brain matter decaying and your telomeres getting short and things like that. So what a young person can see, and if they can connect the dots, and if you can see that there are these two things that work together. For example, I honestly don't know what kind of an example to give, but for example, these brooches that I make, these are all paint. This is all paint, and it's like a piece of jewelry. I think if I look at these 5 years down the line, I might think that they're a little clunky. I might have refined my process, but for me, it kind of struck me that, hey, you know what? I could do this with paint and make jewelry. Why does jewelry just have to be metals, right? And it's wearable art. Now, how are you making those connections, and what has that got to do with photography? What that has to do with photography is that I have spent so many years looking at various forms and shapes and motion, and the way my eye looks at certain things, and that it translates into the kind of art that I do. Whether I do line work, I do dots, or I do that's also paint. This is like a full canvas piece with paint. This was the first piece I made. I'm not sure when, it has no date on it, but I think it was 4 or 5 years ago maybe. Could be before that, I'm not really sure. But these things are connected. So as a young person, what I recommend is that you should look for connections. You should look for patterns, and then you should put things together in a nice little personal brand package called you, and that is the value that you bring to the client. You're not merely a photographer, you are an entrepreneur. That's what I call myself. And one of the questions in the interview also was that, how do you define yourself? And I was like, I don't really know. I do so many things. How do you define yourself? I am, so the one word that I use is that I'm an entrepreneur. I am a photographer. I have a 16-year-old blog. I also consult with brands and I help them with brand building online. I paint, I produce wearable art, but all encompassing, I am an entrepreneur. I do everything from A to Z. I do the invoicing, I do the client servicing, I'm the one who speaks to clients, I'm the one who builds my own brand, does my own PR, does my own marketing, and I also do it for others. I do phone calls, I do everything. Find connections, find people who think like you. Remember, you're working with people. You're not working with a brand. As a photographer, I don't work with a brand. I'm working with a person. There might be a team of people, but there will be a decision maker, or there will be 2-3 key decision makers, and those are the people I am working with. Brands come and go. People too come and go, but at least I am not here because of brands. I am here because of the people who work at those brands who gave me a chance. So look for people who will give you a chance and then over deliver. Give them so much amazing stuff that they are blown away. And that is still not a guarantee that they will hire you again. But others will see it, and there will be clients who will appreciate that and will want to work with you. And rinse and repeat. So you don't need an education, you don't need to go to photo school. It does have advantages. You'll have fellow photographers around you, you will have a community, you will all grow together, so there'll be a network, etc., etc. Those things can also be done without going to photography school. Other skills you need to know is how the business of photography is what you should understand. So if there is a course you can do on the business of photography, that I would recommend far more than a technical course, for example, because a technical skill you can practice and you can learn, but if you don't understand the fundamentals of business, you won't be a photographer long enough to do any photography. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this episode. I honestly have no idea what more to talk about. Every conversation is either around the coronavirus or it is around the political scene in the world, what is happening. It's quite crazy. So there's so much of information overload that I just kind of avoid looking at stuff online, which means I'm not feeling inspired in terms of the content that I have. But I think I will be getting back in the groove in the next 1 or 2 weeks. I have so many pending client consulting and Instagram audit calls that I've been postponing because A, suddenly travel, and then B, I wasn't well, and everyone's waiting, and I'm going to be doing that I think in the next 1 or 2 weeks and sort those out, and hopefully I'll be doing more videos. As always, thank you for listening and watching. This was another episode of the Naina Redhu Experience, and I hope to do more as always. Take care. Bye.